Alright, welcome back everybody. So today I'm going to show you something that's traditionally not used in a professional application, but I think if we use it correctly and use it sparingly, it could be the cherry on top to add a little bit of flair to your videos to make them stand out from the crowd. Without further ado, let's see how we can use light rays in our videos. So the first thing I'm going to do is drop my real estate video into the media pool here. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and cut it right around this point right here, just to get rid of the branding that I have built into the beginning of the video. And there I'm just going to mute the audio because it is excessively loud. And let's start working with the clip. So the first thing that I'm going to do is open up the effect that we're looking for. And in this case, we can find that under the Open Effects section, Filters, Resolve Effects. And then if we scroll down, we're going to find Light Rays, and you can just drag and drop that directly onto the video. Now this looks pretty horrible, and we're going to fix that. So I'm just going to start by creating a keyframe on every single thing that we can possibly make a keyframe on. And then I'm going to change the ray directions to at an angle. From there, I'm just going to turn the source threshold way down and turn the length of this fairly low as well, just so we can get a better idea of what we're going to be working with. From there, I'm just going to create another keyframe at the end of this first section for everything that we're going to be working with as well here. And then I'm going to do it for one more section. Perfect. So now that I have everything laid out, I can start working on our video. So the first thing that I'm going to do is create a relatively strong light ray here. Just going to increase the length, maybe drop that threshold down, the brightness just a little bit, then play with this angle until we get it right around what we're looking for here. Make it a little harder, and I think that's about what we're looking for right there. So what we've done here is just basically add a little bit of light. If I turn it off, you can see exactly what's happening there. It seems as if there's a strong sunlight coming in from behind that window. And then what I'm going to do is basically fade this out as the camera moves forward. So I'm going to go to our next keyframe there, and then just turn the settings down a little bit. So in this case, let's bring that threshold down to maybe about here. I think is pretty good. Here we can also make the length a little bit longer. Soften it up a little bit too. And I think the brightness should be okay. Blend, we're going to have to bring up a little bit. Maybe just the angle, just a tiny amount. So then if we play this back from the last point, what we can see is that it's basically going to appear as if that light ray vanishes as the camera's moving. Just play it back again so you can see what I'm talking about there. And if I bring it in and out, yes, it does blow out the image just a little bit. It brings in a little bit more light through that window, but I think it's worth it for the effect. And frankly, I don't think anybody watching this as an advertisement for the home is really going to be thinking, wow, that window is super blown out. I think if anything, if they notice the effect at all, they're just going to notice that, hey, this looks like a nice, bright and airy room to live in. So I think it's worth the trade-off for a little bit of extra light coming through that window. For the next section, I'm just going to skip past this one and show you a way that we can do it here in a room that has no real windows or anything like that. So the first thing that we're going to do is, I think that threshold is actually pretty good with what we're going for, but the angle's a little bit off. You can see it's a little sideways there. So I'm just going to change that angle. Perfect. I think that's pretty good angle, maybe a little closer to 0. There we go. From here, I think the length is pretty good, but I'm going to make it a little bit more noticeable by turning down the softness. And then for the brightness, I think if we turn it up ever so slightly, it's going to work with what we're after. And then what I want is for the lights to get softer as we get forward, as we get closer in this clip. But I also want the overall illumination to drop down. So to do that, I'm basically going to be playing with a combination of the threshold, the blend, and maybe a little bit with the length. So I'm just going to go forward a little bit to the end of that clip. And then I'm going to change the threshold by bringing that forward to maybe about here. It's like our angle reset, so I'm just going to bring that back. I think it was at around 3, but it's okay. We can set it right around here. The length, I am going to increase a little bit just to make that light ray a tiny bit longer. As for the softness, I think I'm going to turn it down just a touch so we can see it a little bit more. The brightness, I am going to turn up a little bit as well, again, just so we can see it a little bit more. And then for the blend, I'm going to dial that back because I think I did make it a little bit too harsh. And I think that right there looks pretty good. So if we play this back, we can see is that there are some light rays up there. And as we get closer to the light, they do get a little bit longer, but they also fade out. Here they're fairly noticeable and fairly visible. And you can see that they're fading out over time. All right, and there we have it. I think that's a pretty good way to use light rays in a professional application such as real estate to add a little bit of flavor and pop to your videos without making it seem overly dramatic or just completely blowing out the video and making it completely unprofessional. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see in upcoming episodes, let me know in the comment section below. So until next time, I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Bye now.